call. Love catching up with you about issues of importance to folks who live downtown. You just had a meeting last night.
We did, yes.
And one of the things I was looking at your meeting agenda was to talk about the mayor's budget proposal.
Yes.
What were you guys looking at?
Yeah, so the City of Providence Mayor's office approached us and said, can we come talk to downtown residents about fiscal year 18 budget proposal? We enthusiastically said yes. We had it at the Regency Plaza. About 30 residents came out last night. And what we talked about was listening to what the budget had, the investments that it's going to bring to the city, and it was a lively group that asked a lot of incredible questions about what the budget actually means for downtown residents.
And some of the things that were raised, what are the issues that are of importance to you?
Yeah, so education is a big piece of what the mayor's office is really putting into the budget for next year. In addition to that, the infrastructure, the capital plan over the next 5 years. For downtown residents, that's really big. The sidewalks, the lighting. We've been working really hard to work with the city to get all the lights on. And there's a lot of lights that are currently off right now. So it's not this administration's fault. It's kind of years and years. And that's one thing that the budget addresses, is making sure that there's a long-term plan for the issues that are happening. There's a new police academy that's in the budget, a new fire academy. So the safety aspect, the investment into the city, and then the education, I think, are the three key pillars.
The three prongs. And how do you feel about the public safety aspect? You know, folks work downtown, but come the evening, it's a little different. It's bars and clubs. It might be a little bit quieter. Our residents, do they feel good about the public safety component for the folks who live in the downtown area?
Yeah, I mean, we've never had a complaint about a safety issue in terms of violence or crime. I think that the downtown area, even when businesses close down around the weekends, it is a safe place to be. Many residents that are down here are transplants, so they lived in other bigger cities, DC, Boston, Chicago. So this to them is safe. I mean, it's very safe. So I think having more police patrolling the areas and more people out and about, and that was in the budget as well, bringing businesses in. How can we get more businesses to come to downtown and invest in?
Like a supermarket? Is
yeah,
that still?
I mean, that's what we've been trying. I mean, this group has been around for a year and a half now, and that's
what a supermarket.
Yeah, I mean, that's, we keep hearing this magic number of it needs to have 10,000 residents in the downtown area.
Interesting. How many are there now, would you say?
I would say there's between 5 and 7. We don't have that census number yet, but I would say with the growing numbers, that's not including Johnson & Wales students or college students or business owners or workers. It's the actual residents of the downtown area, is I've heard between 5 and 7.
And that 10 is the number, what, from a chain supermarket that says we need to know the foot traffic to be able to
That's
get
the
a
magic
foothold.
number that we've heard. We know that Buff Chase has proposed a supermarket by the Providence Journal building. We've also heard some rumblings that they're trying to get a supermarket in some of the I-95 land, but I think eventually it's inevitable. The city is growing so fast, and residents is the key piece now, that it's going to bring the liveliness, even more than what we have in a grocery store is kind of the only missing piece. One of the missing pieces.
Speaking of liveliness, it's PVD Fest this weekend. It's Pride here in Providence. Lots going on. Do folks really embrace that? Are there any issues of street closures or things that folks are maybe concerned about when something of such magnitude descends on the city?
Sure. So I think we are so excited to have the focus on downtown with PVD Fest and Pride and the Living Tour next week to get into the buildings. I think one of the challenges outside of the excitement is the communication to make sure residents know when the street's going to be shut down. I think for such a long time, downtown was treated as a quiet zone, especially on Sundays and at nights, but that's not the case anymore. People live in all these buildings.
There's oftentimes more going on downtown on the weekends, I feel, than during the week.
No, absolutely. So what we're working with a lot of key players is improving the communication to residents of when the streets will be closed and how to make sure residents can get in and out of their buildings. Because this is their home.
Yes.
The arcade is their home, the Peerless, the Regency. And that's been a big issue with the road races that are happening downtown and some of the other festivals. I know that the arcade had problems getting vendors for their a farmer's market, and they had to cancel it a couple of times because of the road race.
Yeah, road races are tough. I mean, you want to have that sort of civic engagement,
Absolutely.
but it's that balance of someone's got to go to a flight, a funeral, something of importance. How do we make sure that they get that information?
And we'll get there. I think it's just the communication between all the key players and making sure that it gets back to the residents.
And one of the things you do as well is keep an eye on things on the horizon, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. The proposal for a riverfront hotel.
Yes.
Now, have you had discussions, or is it on the docket to discuss moving forward? Because this is very much in the nascent stage at the 195 Commission.
Yeah, so what we do is, with the Downtown Neighborhood Association, is we have a board, And then we have the groups, and our group has grown to about 450 residents.
Wow.
Yeah, which is incredible over the course of a year and a half. So we're really, we're really excited that it's growing like this. So what we did is we talked about it at our meeting, and then we put an email out to get responses of the initial thoughts of it. So we had about 50 residents respond back, and I would say it's about 40-60. 40% in favor of it and 60% against. So it's pretty close.
Interesting.
The 40% that are in favor of it, the consensus over and over is just get it done. We've talked about so many projects happening and then they don't happen. That let's just put the shovels in the ground and actually do something. The 60%, and again, rough numbers here, are saying that's a prime location. It's going to disrupt the entire Riverwalk. But that was never meant to be a park there. When the I-95 Commission and all the deals that happened, that was actually meant to be built on in some way, shape, or form.
The park was always going to be on this side,
yes.
And that's when the Cossacks issue came into
exactly.
play.
And we know
That's
how
not
that
a real
went.
park.
Yes.
So it's just maybe just what folks are used to is thinking, oh, this is green space, but as you mentioned, it is a lot.
It is a lot that something will be developed on, and even those that are against it said in their comments, and all these comments are being shared with the I-95 Commission, is that we want something there, just not that height. Because it does, it does block the flow as you're coming into the city and you see the beautiful, horizon there. So it's just, figuring out what that is.
What that might be. Yeah.
But I think as I believe it's a RISD grad that is the developer of it, or one of the developers, I think it's exciting that, even with the FAME proposal of these towers here, and we had mixed feelings about that as well. We did the same thing. We sent emails out, got comments back in, is residents are excited about development, but I think it's a fine line. Providence has done a good job keeping the charm and the historical sense of it, but I do think that at some point we're going to see this boom of...
The only place you can go sort of is up.
But
how far up are you?
Well, exactly,
that's the question.
Exactly, and I think that's the balance here of what, residents versus business owner versus kind of all the key players here.
And one of the last things I wanted to talk about, speaking of the riverfront, you have a riverfront cleanup coming up?
Tuesdays.
This coming Tuesday?
Yeah, this coming Tuesday.
Okay. If
yep.
you live downtown, work downtown, just concerned about the environment, what should folks know?
Yeah, so a couple things. We started this last year with the Parks Department. So the Riverwalk all the way from Water Place Park to the hurricane barrier, it needs a lot of love. When it was built, it was in theory a great idea, but the city ran out of money. The wires were all busted, it was rusty, it was graffitied, and the Parks Department did a good job trying, but it was just too much. So we worked with them last year, had 120 residents over 4 different times to restore the whole thing and save the city an estimated at least $60,000 of labor costs. We painted, we repaired the cables, RISD helped out as well.
I saw those pictures, the before and
after. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, there was
wow.
temporary fencing up along there. So what we're doing now is we're going to start, we started on Earth Day, and we're continuing all the way through October, once a month, and we're going to work our way all the way to Water Place Park. Touching up the railings, anything that's rusty, we're going to sand. And the Parks Department is supplying the paint, and they're supplying the supplies and the labor of having someone there. But it's a great way for residents to get invested in their community and make a difference. Because when you walk by and you're peeling stickers off and saying, I invested in my city.
That's my place.
Exactly.
So if folks are interested, you can go to the Downtown Neighborhood Association Facebook page. Rich Pezzillo, you can contact him as well, always on social media. But I appreciate your coming in. So, apart from the budget, apart from the hotel, apart from the river cleanup, anything else you want to mention to folks?
Yeah, I would just say that downtown is a lively, thriving place. I think sometimes the mentality is that downtown is not a safe place. And I think sometimes Rhode Islanders give downtown a bad reputation, but it's not. I mean, you work here and you spend a lot of time here.
Spend a lot of time here, hopefully coming down for PVD Fest this weekend. A lot going on, but I appreciate you bringing, because folks, do need to know, folks live down here. It's not just working, it's the whole relationship. And we'll see if you get that grocery store.
Yeah, we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop until we have one.
You can't stop, you won't stop.
You will see at one point people walking by with bags of groceries.
Where did that come from?
Exactly.
It's going to shout from Molly O'Brien back there. Well, Rich Pezzillo, I appreciate your coming in today. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.